Far away, beyond the bright stars, a massive ship floated in the darkness. It was not a human ship. It belonged to an ancient alien race known as the Cathar. For thousands of years they had traveled across galaxies, conquering weaker worlds with little effort. To them, war was routine, and victory was certain. But now their eyes were fixed on a small blue planet. The Cathar had discovered Earth. From their hidden place in space, they watched humans. At first, the aliens were not impressed. Humans were fragile, soft, and short-lived. Their bodies broke easily, their weapons were primitive compared to alien technology, and their planet looked unprotected. The Council of Cathar commanders believed it would be simple to invade. But as days passed, their recordings of human history began to disturb them. They saw humans fight wars that destroyed entire cities, yet survivors rebuilt stronger than before. They saw humans walk into fire, storms, and frozen lands, refusing to surrender. They saw humans send ships into the void of space, not knowing if they would return. And they saw something even stranger, humans laughing, singing, and celebrating even during the darkest times. One alien officer spoke quietly, his voice trembling. These creatures, they do not fear death the way others do. They run toward danger. They risk everything for reasons we cannot understand. The commander of the fleet narrowed his eyes. Explain. The officer showed a recording of human soldiers charging into battle when they had almost no chance to win. He showed rescuers pulling strangers out of burning buildings, even while their own lives were in danger. He showed humans fighting wild animals with nothing but sticks and stones, screaming with rage and courage. "This is not logic," the officer said. "This is madness." The commander leaned back in his chair. For the first time in many years, he felt something unusual: unease. Other species usually screamed, begged, or surrendered when facing the Cathar. But humans ran forward. Another alien scientist added, "They are unpredictable. Their history is filled with violence, yet also with kindness. They build, they destroy, and then they build again. It is unnatural." Silence filled the room. The hum of the ship's engines echoed through the chamber. Each alien in the council stared at the blue world on the screen. Finally, the commander spoke in a low, almost fearful voice. "They look weak, but they are not. They are dangerous because they do not follow reason. They are dangerous because they are insane." The words hung heavy in the air. No one argued. No one laughed. For the first time, the Cathar realized they might face an enemy, unlike any they had known before. And so, from the darkness of space, the silent watchers continued their study, unsure if they were observing prey or a predator. The loss of their scout ship did not stop the Cathar. Instead, it made them more curious. How could such a fragile species destroy one of their nearly indestructible vessels? The Council demanded answers, so another mission was launched. This time, the aliens would not test humans from a distance. They would capture them. One quiet night, over a remote desert, a Cathar transport descended silently. Beams of pale light swept across the sand. Within minutes, 3 humans vanished into the ship, taken before they could even scream. The captives were brought to a remote research facility hidden beneath a mountain of solid rock. Inside, cold metal rooms awaited. Each prisoner was trapped behind a glowing barrier in the center of a circular chamber. Strange machines floated around them, recording every heartbeat, every breath. The aliens had begun their study of the human male. The first thing they tested was fear. A giant creature bred for war was released into the chamber. The alien scientists expected the human to collapse in terror, to beg for mercy. Instead, he picked up a broken piece of metal from the floor and faced the beast head-on. His body shook, but his eyes burned with fire. He charged, screaming, a sound so raw that even the Cathar watching the screens leaned back in surprise. The human had taken damage, but he kept coming forward, driven by something the aliens could not comprehend. Rage. The second test was pain. A woman was strapped to a table, exposed to sharp bursts of energy that tore through her nerves. The Cathar measured her heart rate, her screams, her breaking point. But even as tears filled her eyes, she laughed, a broken, bitter laugh. She spat at the alien observing her and whispered through clenched teeth, "You'll have to do better than that." The scientists were baffled. Their instruments screamed that she was in agony, yet she mocked them. It made no sense. The third human confused them most of all. He was placed in isolation. No light, no sound. Nothing but endless darkness. Most species lost their minds within hours. But this man began to sing. His voice echoed through the chamber, steady and calm. He sang old songs, human songs of love and war, of pain and hope. The aliens could not understand the words, but they felt something strange. A chill in their bones. Was this some form of magic? Could these fragile creatures harm them from beyond the grave? They didn't know. Days passed. The humans grew weaker in body but stronger in spirit. They comforted each other through the barriers, whispering words of courage. They shared jokes, even while bleeding. They promised escape, even when escape seemed impossible. Then something incredible happened. The lead scientist, a hulking brute named Crawl, paused in his work. He stared at the human in isolation, listening to his song. A memory flickered in the depths of his mind, a long-forgotten memory from his youth. His people had once captured a human musician, a man who had played their songs back to them with a strange instrument. The humans called it a guitar. The memory was incomplete, buried under years of research and disdain, but it was enough to send a shiver down Crawl's spine. For the first time in his long career, he felt fear, not of the humans' strength, but of their will. Their strength could be measured, contained, destroyed. But their will, their unbreakable spirit, that was a force even the Cathar could not comprehend. As the days turned into weeks, the Cathar became obsessed with understanding the human spirit. They studied their captives, hoping to find a weakness, a flaw, anything they could exploit. But they found only strength. The humans remained defiant, unyielding, their spirits unbroken. And as the Cathar watched and studied, they learned something about the human spirit that they never expected. It was resilient, tenacious, and ultimately, it was unstoppable. One night, as the alien scientists reviewed their data, one of the human prisoners leaned close to the glowing barrier. His eyes locked on the nearest alien. His voice was low, steady, and terrifying. "You think you're studying us," he said, "but you don't understand. We don't break the way others do. You'll regret keeping us alive." The alien scientist froze. For the first time in his long career, he felt fear. This is the last thing the scout ship saw before its destruction. Before it, two human vessels chased each other through the stormy seas. Behind it, the blue planet shone quietly on the screen. Lightning flashed across its surface. In that moment, every Cathar officer understood this was no ordinary species. But let's start at the beginning. The Cathar were an aggressive and warlike race. When they set their sights on a new system to conquer, nothing could stop them. Entire fleets of starships would vanish beneath their relentless assault. Whole planets would tremble before their armies. But this time would be different. This time they had encountered something they had never seen before. When the Cathar arrived in the Sol system, they did not attack. They knew better than to make the first move. For months they observed Earth, its people, its defenses. At first glance, it seemed easy prey, but something about the planet unsettled the Cathar. And so the High Council met to decide the fate of the humans. Should they attack or should they wait? They chose neither. The Cathar decided to test the strange species before launching a full invasion. They wanted to see how humans would react under pressure, so they sent a small scout ship, cloaked and silent, into Earth's atmosphere. Its mission was simple: capture a few humans, study their reactions, and return with answers. The scout ship entered the sky like a shadow, unseen by most. But fate had its own plan. A powerful storm raged that night over the ocean. Lightning struck, winds screamed, and waves crashed against the ship's invisible hull. For a moment, the cloak flickered. Down below, a human cargo vessel caught sight of the strange glow. The crew pointed, confused. It was not lightning. It was something unnatural. Within minutes, the scout ship disabled the vessel with a beam of energy. The ship froze in the water, powerless. The crew panicked, shouting, trying to call for help. But the radios were dead. A group of humans, soaked in rain, still fought back. They grabbed flares, knives, even metal pipes, and prepared to defend themselves against the unknown. The aliens watched from above, puzzled. Why resist? Why not surrender? One alien soldier asked, "Commander, why do they not flee?" The commander replied coldly, "Because they are too foolish to see defeat." But what happened next stunned them all. A distress call had gone through before the power was cut. Hours later, another human vessel appeared on the stormy horizon. It was a rescue team. Despite the danger, despite the storm, they had come. They saw the cargo ship trapped, saw the strange glowing lights above, and without hesitation they pushed forward. The Cathar could not believe it. These humans risked their own lives to save others. No promise of reward, no chance of survival, yet still they advanced. The scout ship fired again, this time at the rescue vessel. Sparks exploded across its deck. Fire spread. Still, the humans climbed aboard, dragging survivors from the first ship. Their faces were pale with fear, but their hands did not stop working. Then, something happened that even the aliens could not predict. The captain of the rescue vessel, his ship burning around him, made a choice. He turned the wheel hard, driving his vessel straight into the alien scout ship. The collision shook the night. Metal tore, fire blazed, and both ships vanished beneath the roaring ocean waves. On the alien mothership, silence filled the council chamber. The commander gripped the edge of his chair. "They destroyed themselves," one officer whispered, "just to destroy us." The commander's eyes narrowed. His voice was heavy. "They are not foolish. They are not weak. They are something far worse." The blue planet shone quietly on the screen. Lightning flashed across its surface. And in that moment, every Cathar officer understood. This was no ordinary species. The humans might seem unassuming, but they were tenacious, brave, and utterly relentless. To the Cathar, this was an entirely new experience. They had never encountered a species that defied their attacks, that welcomed death rather than surrender. The humans were unlike anyone the Cathar had ever known, and if they attacked this species, they would face a storm far more terrifying than any they had ever seen. The alien mothership hung in orbit, silent and massive. Inside, the Cathar Council gathered in a great chamber filled with glowing screens. Each one showed images of Earth, its cities, its oceans, its people. The latest reports from the experiments had shaken them. How could they have missed it? Humans were not like other species they'd encountered. They were different, dangerous. The commander stood tall, his eyes cold. "You have all seen the results. The humans resist pain. They resist fear. Even in captivity, they do not break. What kind of species does this?" An older counselor leaned forward. "A dangerous one. Their logic is chaos. Their weakness is strength. Their madness is contagious." But not all agreed. Another voice rose sharply. "Dangerous? No, they are animals. Animals can be controlled. If they do not break, we will crush them harder. Their planet is full of resources. Their bodies are weak. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Why should we fear them?" The council chamber filled with arguments. Some spoke of retreat, warning that humanity could not be predicted. Others demanded invasion, greedy for Earth's oceans, forests, and minerals. One scientist showed data of human wars. Cities burned, millions died, yet humanity always rebuilt. They are the only species we know that destroys itself again and again, yet survives. Their history is fire, but they rise from the ashes each time. Another counselor shook his head. They are reckless. They do not value life the way we do. That makes them impossible to control. The debate grew louder, voices echoing off the metal walls. For the first time in centuries, the Cathar were uncertain. Finally, the commander raised his hand. Silence fell. His voice was calm, but sharp like a blade. Fear does not guide us. Greed does not guide us. Only power guides us. These humans are strong, yes. Unpredictable, yes. But they are still flesh and blood. They will fall. He turned to the council and gave the order no one had dared to say out loud until now. Prepare the fleet. The invasion of Earth begins. A heavy silence followed, then murmurs of agreement. The decision was final. Across the mothership, alarms rang as ships powered up. Soldiers armed themselves, their armor glowing in the dim light. Weapons were loaded, engines roared, and fleets prepared to descend upon the blue planet below. But in the shadows of the chamber, one counselor remained uneasy. His voice was barely a whisper, unheard by the others. "We are not the hunters," he muttered. "We are walking into the jaws of something far worse." On Earth, humanity lived unaware of the storm gathering above their skies. Children laughed, cities shone with light, and the world turned as it always had. But soon, they would face their greatest test. And the aliens who called them insane were about to learn why. The invasion began before dawn. From the quiet of the night sky, hundreds of Cathar warships broke through the clouds. Their hulls glowed with strange symbols. Their weapons hummed with deadly power. Cities below woke to the sound of thunder that was not thunder. Windows rattled, car alarms screamed, and people pointed upward in fear. The aliens had come. The first strike was merciless. Energy beams cut through the sky, turning tall towers into fire and smoke. Roads cracked, power grids failed, and entire neighborhoods fell silent. Then something unexpected happened. Even in the face of impossible odds, humans fought back. Police in riot gear and soldiers with heavy weapons rushed to defend their cities. Dozens of old tanks previously kept in storage facilities rolled out onto the streets. Jets screamed from their runways and missiles launched into the dark sky. It seemed hopeless. No conventional weapon could match the energy shields or the firepower of the Cathar, but humanity wasn't giving up without a fight. In one city, a group of firemen who had been rescuing civilians from burning buildings aimed their water trucks directly at a massive alien walker. The metal giant stepped over the burning wreckage of cars, its weapons blazing, ready to burn everything in sight. Yet the firemen drove straight into its legs, toppling the machine with nothing but the power of their will and the steel of their trucks. On the coast, a fleet of fishing boats turned into floating weapons. Their captains loaded explosives onto the decks and charged toward the alien landing crafts. The explosions lit the ocean with fire as the sky filled with the wreckage of ships and the angry roar of the sea. From the orbiting mothership, the alien commander watched in disbelief as his officers shouted reports of heavy casualties, falling ships, and unexpected resistance. "They are adapting too fast," one officer warned. "Impossible," the commander growled. "They are primitives. They cannot defeat us." But humans weren't fighting with technology alone. They were fighting with rage, with desperation, with a kind of madness the Cathar had never seen. In the mountains, a small village armed only with hunting rifles and led by an old veteran held off an entire alien squad for hours. In the cities, civilians formed barricades, throwing firebombs from rooftops and charging enemy walkers with Molotov cocktails. Even children carried supplies through burning streets, refusing to run. One alien general finally said aloud what none of them wanted to admit. "They do not fight to win. They fight so that even in losing, they make us bleed. Explosions continued to light the skies across the planet. Every street, every corner, every ruined building became a battlefield. Humanity was battered, broken, and bleeding, but still standing. At the end of the first day, the aliens expected Earth to fall. Instead, they found themselves locked in a war unlike any before. The commander stared at the burning planet below, his hands clenched around the armrest of his chair. For the first time in his long life, he understood what his officer had once whispered. These creatures, they are insane. But the battle had only just begun. The first days of war were brutal. Cities lay in ruins, skies burned red, and the oceans carried wreckage. Humanity had lost millions, but still, the fight did not end. In bunkers, in forests, in broken streets, humans regrouped. They studied alien weapons, scavenged enemy tech, and, true to their nature, began to experiment. At first, it was small things. A squad of engineers managed to power a human missile with an alien energy core. The weapon flew twice as far and struck with impossible force. In another city, a mechanic welded alien armor onto an old tank, making it nearly indestructible. Farmers wired alien plasma rifles onto tractors, turning them into strange rolling weapons. The Cathar could not believe what they were seeing. Other species cowered when invaded. But humans learned. Humans adapted. Humans turned every broken piece of alien technology into something new and something dangerous. One alien commander slammed his fist on the table. "This is chaos. They use our weapons like toys. They do not study. They improvise. How do you fight an enemy that refuses to follow logic?" Reports told of humans fighting like madmen. They did not retreat when surrounded. They charged. They did not surrender when outnumbered. They laughed, then attacked. Entire villages vanished into the forests, striking alien patrols with ambushes and traps. Soldiers painted their faces, using fear itself as a weapon. And among the Cathar, doubt spread. One young officer whispered to his superior, "Commander, what if they win?" The commander silenced him, but the words lingered. Meanwhile, in the ruins of a great city, humanity struck its first major victory. A group of resistance fighters hijacked an alien dropship. Against all odds, they figured out how to fly it. With smoke rising behind them, they turned the ship's weapons against the invaders. When the mothership received the report, the council was silent. A primitive species had stolen their technology and was already using it in war. "This is not possible," one counselor muttered. But it was not just possible. It was happening everywhere. On the front lines, an alien general watched as humans charged once more, fearless and relentless. His soldiers hesitated. Their enemy did not behave like any foe before. Instead of breaking, the humans grew stronger the longer the war dragged on. And deep inside him, the general felt something he had not known in centuries. Admiration. "These humans," he whispered, "they should not exist, but they do. And they fight like no other." For weeks, reports trickled in from across the galaxy. Alien vessels fell from the sky, crippled by strange new weapons. Patrols were decimated by hidden mines or ambushed by invisible snipers. Entire armies vanished into the maelstrom of human guerrilla warfare. And slowly, a terrifying truth dawned on the Cathar High Council. They were losing. To admit it was impossible. Their strength, their technology, their experience, none of it made sense. In any reality, they should have crushed the humans long ago. But the war dragged on, and the invaders were not prepared for a long war. Their supplies were not endless. Their reinforcements would not come. They were alone in an uncaring galaxy, fighting an enemy that refused to bend. Then came the orders from the High Council: retreat. It was a single word, cold and final. The Cathar would pull back, regroup, and crush the humans another day. But even as they fled, the reports continued. Entire Cathar outposts simply vanished overnight. Ships were crippled by new sabotage tactics. Ambushes awaited at every turn. And soon, the Cathar realized they were not just retreating from the war, they were retreating from the galaxy. As their fleet scattered, something happened that no one expected. No more messages came from the human resistance. The communications went silent. And as the Cathar looked around, fear twisted their features. They were alone. Whatever the humans had planned, whatever they had built, it was not for them. Aboard their ships, the Cathar began to scream. There was nowhere left to run, nowhere to hide. The humans had chased them into the darkness, and the galaxy would never be the same. This war has raged for years. Who is winning? Who is losing? The facts are these. The Cathar fleet is crippled. Our soldiers live in fear. We've lost too many good people. It's time to go home. A few weeks ago, this war could have ended in our favor. If we had attacked one more time, pushed just a little further, the humans would have been finished. But now, every day that passes, every human life we take, they come back angrier, stronger, more unpredictable than before. They are finished, but they keep rising. And I don't understand it. They have no logic. They have no reason. They fight without honor. They destroy themselves, their world, but they will not surrender. They are animals. I want to rip their heads off and give them to the dogs. But you can't fight an animal. You have to use your head. You have to be smart. My spies tell me the humans are preparing something big. They believe this world is theirs by right. They will not rest until every last human is dead. So what is this final plan? It doesn't matter. It won't work. Nothing the humans can do will stop us. My ships are damaged, but I have brought them here to repair. And I will not leave until they are ready. My fleet may be broken, but it will be whole again. And when it is, I will smash the humans into the dirt and take my revenge. Then I will go to the council and explain what happened to this insolent species and receive my reward. Yes, I will show them what the Cathar are capable of. I will wipe this planet from the face of the universe. And then, and only then, will I go home. Across the galaxy, the Cathar have never known defeat. And I will make sure they never forget it. This war may have dragged on longer than any of us expected, but the end will be glorious. Let the humans burn. Let them rage and scream. They are nothing but insects. Soon I will crush them all. What you say may be true, but do not underestimate them. These humans are strong, stronger than they look. There's something inside them that will not break. No matter how many times you push them down, they get back up again. They will not surrender. They will not submit. They will not give up, I agree. I underestimated them, and for that I paid the price. Now I am paying it back tenfold. Tell me, would you rather die knowing your enemy was strong, knowing you gave him your best, or would you rather die knowing you ran away? Silence. I thought so. I don't want to hear another word of complaint from any of you. Do you think the Cathar are afraid? Afraid of what? Of losing? That is not possible. We have lost before. We recover, and we win. Next time, we are not afraid of death, because death is part of life. We are not afraid of pain. It makes us stronger. We are not afraid of the darkness, because we bring the light. We are not afraid of the humans, because we will destroy them. That is why when I give the order to strike, I expect 100% of your effort. Is that understood? Yes, sir. Then let's go home. As the great mothership pulled away from Earth, its hull scarred, its weapons drained, the humans might have thought they'd won. Maybe they did. But the Cathar had never known defeat. They would lick their wounds and come back stronger. Maybe next time they'd win? Maybe. But inside the council chamber, there could be no talk of retreat, no admission of failure. That would be a defeat in itself. So the Cathar retreated with their heads held high, their eyes burning with hatred, and their weapons hot for vengeance. And with them, they took their secret, the knowledge that for the first time in their history, they had met their match.